CNBC TV 18's Women and Money series, Financial Quotient, powered by For Her, an investor education and awareness initiative of Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund.
Hello and welcome to CNBC TV 18's Women and Money series presents Financial Quotient. I'm Sumera Abdi, and today we are going to talk about how we can turn women savers into investors. And joining in to provide insights on financial planning and investment management is Kiran Telang, who's the founder and director of the Dhanayush Capital Services. Hi, Kiran. Thanks very much for joining in. And there was a time I remember when my mother would say things like, wealth is not earned, it is saved. But at a time when we are seeing negative real returns, I guess it's time to update saved into invested, right? So to begin with, can you help us distinguish between what really is saving and what is investing?
It's a very interesting topic that we are talking on today. Uh, See, the basic difference between saving and investing is that you are creating expense structure for the future. So, what do you do with your investments? You are basically putting in money in places where you can dip into it later when you have a need and utilize that money. Say, for example, it's like having water in buckets at home or having water in a storage tank. So when you have water in a storage tank, you're storing it for later use, and for your immediate use you will have the water in bucket at home what you're using. So in a similar way, you basically are putting some amount of money in certain amount of places, some instruments that you use. It could be a fixed deposit, it could be mutual funds, it could be a property, wherein you will have an income in future when you are probably not having a salary income or a professional income, or when there are goals that come up at that point in time and you need that money, so you're putting away money for your future self.
Okay, fair enough. But it's not that Indian women don't have money set aside, right? We have gold deposits which are larger than the central banks of the world. But now, as we see it in today's scenario, we say that gold is a hedge. Not really the main investment per se, right? Do you think there is this mindset that needs to change entirely as to how we look at different asset classes, how we look at financial instruments, and what are the roadblocks to changing this mindset?
I believe that the reason why gold finds such a large place in most women's investment portfolio is because it's a simple thing. You can just go to a jeweler and buy some amount of jewelry, and if need be in the future, you can always sell that and raise money. So it's a very, very simple transaction based thing. When there are complexities that come in terms of say the rate of interest, or the way you have to invest, do your KYC and other things, so these seem to be hindrances in getting more women into investing into other asset classes other than gold. We need to look at it in a different way. Times are changing, and the returns that probably gold offers will not be sufficient to meet any future needs. If you're saving for your future needs and investing that money in gold, it might not suffice. So while it can be a hedge when the other asset classes, say equity, is not performing well, gold can act as a hedge. But it cannot be your primary source of your future gold requirement or your future income requirement. It's very difficult to see gold in that view. So I feel the mindset here that change is required is that investing is not very complicated. There are certain steps which need to be taken, and there are experts or there are advisors who can help you, do these things. So it's mostly a one-time setup thing that happens, and once that is set up, a lot of things are automated. You can do your investments in a very automated manner, be it in any banking investment instruments like, say, a fixed deposit or a recurring deposit, be it your SIPs in mutual funds, or if you have a lump sum which you have received from somewhere, you can put that also in mutual funds. So it is a one-time setup thing. So it's not very complicated.
Fair enough. The other thing is, Kiran, that and I've spoken to a lot of people who have been, dealing with women investors. The one thing they say is that, women like to have this circle of trust. So therefore, how to ease that transition from saver to investor, to move into the financial products and investments. Do you think, perhaps a good advisor hand-holding them might prove to be that circle of trust? Or do you think, women could be equally good DIY investors?
I think it entirely depends on the individual mindset and the understanding of financial instruments, or the questions around all those financial instruments. So be it DIY or be it an advisor, I mean, either way can be taken by women. What happens when you go to an advisor is that you can have your questions answered. If you're entering investing for the first time, there'll be numerous questions that arise in your mind: how to do certain things, what to avoid. So that is where the hand holding of an advisor will help, because an advisor will give you a holistic picture of why and how of things. And once you understand it, it becomes easier to actually step in and do things. In a DIY setup, you will need to spend some time understanding various things, and only then you will go ahead and do it. So the likelihood of making errors is higher in a DIY thing, but it can be treated as a learning experience, and then you can go ahead. So either way is fine. It depends on your comfort level, what you want to choose.
Kiran, on the face of it, saving is saving, investing is investing. Uh, what's the difference between men and women? Yet, there is some sort of anecdotal evidence which, advisors cite, which say that women's portfolios tend to perform better than men's. Are women better investors than men?
I think yes, to a certain extent, because what I believe is women do a lot of research, and they take their time to choose their investments. And while they might be a little more cautious and a little slower in adapting to newer investments, once they make a decision, they stay with it for a long time. And as we know in investing, the longer you stay invested, usually it is better for your investment performance. So not jumping from one to another just because there's a better performance in another instrument or another scheme automatically helps the portfolios perform better. So I think that could be one of the reasons why this anecdotal evidence about women's portfolios doing better than men's portfolios arises.
That's good to hear. Another point that, and this has come to fore in the last 1 year because of the pandemic, that, a lot of families have lost their primary earners. A lot of women have been left to sort of, struggle to find and sort of gather together all their financial details, etc., at the very last minute. What is the case that you can present to women today to say that, don't wait till the last minute? You want to be on top of all of your, investments and other financial commitments from the from day one.
Yes, it's been pretty unfortunate what we have seen unfolding over the last couple of years since the pandemic started. And it's heartbreaking to see that women who are at the top in their fields probably also going through the same pain in terms of, accessing what belongs to them as a family, because their husband or their father or their brother, whoever is taking care of, is no longer there to take care of things for them. So in such a traumatic situation, if you have to, in addition to the trauma that you're facing, you have to learn about investing, you have to find out where the money is. It is an additional burden. So why not look at things when everything is all right? So once you understand the bigger picture, I mean, you need not understand how NAV works, or you need not understand why and how of each instrument. But on an overall view, you need to look at where your monies are invested, and if need be, how will you access them in times of emergency. You need to be aware of who are the finance professionals who are helping your family manage the money. It could be a mutual fund distributor, it could be an insurance agent, it could be a fixed deposit agent. I mean, there are several people who are involved in these cases. It could be a financial planner who will probably have a holistic picture of all the instruments and all the people involved there. So once this holistic picture, the bigger picture is known to you, it becomes that much more easier in case there is a situation where the man of the family is no longer around to help in taking care of these decisions or managing the money. I think it's always better to do things when everything is okay, rather than waiting and hoping that nothing will go wrong. We don't have control over that.
Yeah, because then you don't have a moment to lose, right? To sort of pick up all the threads. Kiran, and even in our personal lives, when we've spoken to a lot of the women, I've heard a lot of them say, oh, I'm saving for a holiday, or, oh, I'm saving for a new wardrobe, or, I'm saving to contribute to a new car. Very rarely have I heard, them say that, oh, I'm saving for a retirement. Of course, nowadays with more and more women earning, it is becoming more common. But do you think in general women look at goals in the very short term and not necessarily over the extremely long term?
Well, I would say this is more of a problem with societal conditioning because women are not involved in money conversations in the families, and that's a big gap that needs to be addressed. So, when as a family you're taking certain decisions, I mean, it's not only the spending part on small ticket items like a holiday or buying a car. The women also need to be involved in conversations of bigger decisions like buying a house or planning for retirement or planning for kids' education. So that is a huge gap that needs to be addressed. So why it is not happening so far is probably because the men in the family are not letting it happen, or on the other side, the women themselves do not want to get involved. So on both sides, on the women's side also, they need to understand that these are important decisions, and there are chances that you'll make lesser mistakes if you get involved in these long term or larger decisions in the family. And on the other side, the men also need to involve women and grown up children in these decisions so that there is a better decision for the family which is done on a holistic basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I agree with you that a lot of people say that, I'm already doing so much. I don't want to do something more, and especially something as boring as this. But you know what? It just takes one generation to change the entire mindset. I mean, if the one current generation takes it upon themselves to do this one added thing, your kids will grow up looking at you thinking that is the norm. I mean, whether it's boys or girls, they will look at it and say that, you know what, I saw my mom doing it, this is the norm. That's why we've seen a lot more working women now being accepted into families, because one generation did it and the next grew up thinking that this is how things are supposed to be. So, somebody has to take that tough first step, and, now is as good a time as any, right? Kiran, how do we then help these women who are looking to make that change, build a diversified portfolio, or a good starting point? What are the basic fundamentals that they need to keep at the back of their mind?
A good beginning point will be the question why. I mean, why are you saving? So that is where your goal setting comes in. So start with why. Once you list down what are your priorities, you look at your risk part. Is your risk covered? Because if you just start investing, and if there is a major risk which plays out, ill health, loss of job, death, these kind of risks are uncontrollable and we don't know when they might come. So you be prepared for those kind of risks. Once you cover those risks, how we do that is by taking appropriate insurance for each of these risks that are there. Once the risk is addressed, then you move on to the investment part. And once you have listed down your goals, dividing them into near term goals and long term goals, you can choose appropriate instruments. And it need not be just one kind of a thing. It can range from the entire array that is available to you, from banking products to postal to mutual funds to real estate. So depending on how much risk you're willing to take, how long is your goal duration, and how much money you have to invest. So these are a couple of things that need to come together, and you can plan a portfolio for yourself. So don't look at just one asset class, spread it over. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
And Kiran, one natural question arises out of all of this is that women who might be listening to this, and they say probably they're just referring to women who are working and earning their money. What if I'm just a homemaker? Do I need to still be involved?
Of course, why not? I mean, because all the money that comes into the family is meant for the family goals, right? Because you're not earning, that doesn't mean that you don't have a say in these decisions. While yes, an earning member will have a higher say in the decisions, but as a woman of the house who's taking on other responsibilities, which are unfortunately not paid for, but that those are jobs that you're doing as a homemaker. You need to have a say in the decisions, and also there will be chances of lesser mistakes happening if there are two heads working on one issue.
Yeah, probably they can bring some sanity to the otherwise exuberant portfolios, right? Kiran, thank you very much for joining in and for explaining this basic of how, you needn't just be a saver, you can actually become an investor, because the real risk today is not investing. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.
CNBC TV 18's Women and Money series, Financial Quotient, powered by For Her, an investor education and awareness initiative of Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.